let me extend a warm welcome to all of our team members from around the world. If you've dialed in from Canada, the U.S., or any other country, welcome to you. This is our MIT call, or what we call Millionaires in Training. We do this each and every Monday. It is a call specific to helping leaders within Zija International expand their business to the higher levels of prosperity. Those who have aspirations of a six-figure income annually or multiples of that. There are obviously some skills that we need to learn, disciplines we need to employ, some habits we need to develop in order to build a business of that magnitude. If you're a guest on the line tonight, a special welcome to you. You're going to get kind of a bigger overview or a broader picture or vision of Zija International and what we do and how we do it. So stay tuned. You'll get a lot of good information this evening. Now, some of you may have questions regarding product or our business, what we do or how we do it. And if you do, there is a call that we do on Wednesday. I will be hosting the Wednesday call with Dr. Howard Fisher, gentleman who wrote the book on Moringa, and we'll be discussing that in detail, and of course all of the products. So we'll talk about Moringa and all the products. So if you do have questions about product, if you're new online tonight, we will certainly get those questions answered for you. The person who invited you tonight will most certainly direct you to the appropriate information, or maybe you have some questions about Zija International itself, the company. Tonight, I'd like to focus in on aspects of leadership that lead to high levels of prosperity. What I mean by that is that you've probably heard, certainly if you're a distributor and if you're a guest, that there are people in the direct sales industry, in the person-to-person marketing industry, marketing a variety of products, could be nutrition, could be other products, who have developed a home-based business and a residual income that goes with that of multiple four-figure type incomes monthly, and for some, five-figure or multiple five-figure monthly incomes, and for a very select few, six-figure or multiple six-figure monthly incomes. And obviously, to build that level of prosperity, that level of success, there's some things that we all need to learn, that we all need to employ. And so I want to focus in on maybe one or two key areas tonight that make the difference, that really separate those who go all the way to the top versus those who are just in our business to make a little bit of part-time supplemental income. And when I talk about part-time income, I'm talking about a few thousand a month. For many people, just an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month will be life-changing. It can change a person's lifestyle completely. But one may have bigger aspirations than that. You know, my background, I'm 51 years old now. For those of you that have not met me, I live here in Toronto, Canada. My personal background, I was a locksmith glazer. Basically, I worked in the family business here in Toronto. My dad opened up that business in 1970. In fact, for those of you who are people I work with who may be curious, you can go to Google and type in Metro Hardware, and maintenance in Google in Toronto, Ontario, and a website will come up, and that's my family business. There it is. Today there's 11 vans on the road, 42 employees, and it's one of the biggest businesses in the city of Toronto in the replacement of glass, whether it be houses or residential or commercial. And that was my business. That's where I worked when I finished high school. Now, for me, personally, I had bigger aspirations. I didn't want to work so hard. I didn't want to do that kind of labor. I didn't want to be stuck in a 9-to-5 situation, and I definitely did not want to answer to my family. Some of you may be able to relate to that. Most of us probably would prefer not to work for a family member. Well, I can assure you, I was one of those people. It was difficult for me, working with my brother, my two cousins, my uncles, my aunt. It was not a place where I wanted to build my life and provide lifestyle for my family. And so I left, got into business with my brother in car restoration, and that was out of the fire and into the frying pan. Now I'm with my brother, my older brother, in business. And so he ended up at age 27, leaving both. I had left the family business and I had split up with my brother, and I was looking for the path. What am I going to do where I can develop a quality lifestyle, time freedom, and all the good things that come along with it? And so, as we all know, many of us may have tried different businesses. We may have opened up everything from a driving school to who knows what, window cleaning. It could be anything. Could be any kind of business. Or maybe we bought a franchise. Maybe that's what we did. Well, for me, unfortunately, I answered an ad in the newspaper and ended up looking at direct sales as network marketing, person-to-person marketing. The type of business that we do here at CJ International. Marketing, nutritional products, world-class products, products for weight loss, products for energy, for athletes, products for personal care. A multi-trillion-dollar market when you add all of those markets up together and all of the products sold combined around the world. It's a huge market in every country, on every continent. A huge market. But the key was the method of distribution. How we, in fact, distribute the products and build an income in the process. And that's what intrigued me when I looked at networking. What intrigued me was the concept of helping other people have success, creating an environment for other people to grow, for other people to develop, both from a product standpoint and from a business standpoint, and in the process create a residual income based on other people's success. So in other words, the more people that I am able to help have success, that you and I can help have success, the greater our own success will be. The more permanent our income will be. That, for me, was very appealing, and I'm going to take a guess and say that probably every single person on this line tonight would love to have an income from home with absolute time freedom that is residual in nature, that is based on the fact that you have helped and developed other people's skill sets so that they have become successful and they're earning a little bit of an income. My guess is everybody would want a business like that. Why not? And so the question becomes, what do we do in creating that success? How do we actually go about doing it in network distribution? And the answer is quite simple. I'll share that answer with you and maybe end the last part of this call with a little bit of aspects of leadership and going to the higher levels. But I'll start with this. Our business is nothing more than teaching people how to follow a few simple steps repeated each and every day, each and every week, each and every month over the course of a year, and have a compounding effect that starts the process of duplication where everybody is doing the same thing. And what is that? Exposing people to our product, exposing people to our business, having them join our business, and having them go through the same process of exposing others to the product and others to the business, so that those people who join then go and do exactly the same thing. Expose more people to the product and more people to the business. That is network marketing in 30 seconds. That's our whole business model. And I got started here in Toronto pretty well in the same way as everybody else. I started CJ International in October of 2007, and we had a home presentation at my home roughly 40 to 50 people in the basement of my house. About a half a dozen to a dozen of those people ended up joining. So we didn't get, 30 out of 40 that joined. We had about 10 that joined, roughly. And those 10 people, about 5 of them engaged. 5 of them tried the product. 5 of them actually got started. And those 5 brought a few people who brought a few people who brought a few people. And here we are in February of 2014, and there's roughly 200,000 people in 40 countries in the business because I did a home presentation. And I showed a few people, at that time, a single product. We now have many products, but at that time, a single product. And the business started to grow. Now, of course, that's in the most simplistic terms. I brought a few people. Tonight, we're on a conference call. As I am doing this call tonight, there are another 20 to 30 of these types of conference calls going on in other parts of my team, with other people in other provinces, in other states, and, yes, in other countries. There are some people that are doing hotel presentations tonight. There are large events going on. There are webinars going on right now as we speak on this conference call. People that have invited people to a webinar to view a presentation. There are people doing home presentations. There are some people on the line tonight that have invited someone on a 3-way call. And all of these activities accumulated, compounded, amount to thousands and thousands of new people that are being exposed to our business on this evening, tonight, this evening. Brand new people being exposed to our product, to our business. As I do the conference call tonight, I have 2 gentlemen sitting right across my kitchen table as I do this call live on a speakerphone. One gentleman is in the business, and that one gentleman brought a guest. And ladies and gentlemen, that's as simple as our business is. From a leadership standpoint, what am I doing? I'm using the conference call as a tool to leverage time. I'm doing this conference call that is reaching people across North America and, yes, in other parts of the world to leverage time. In other words, I can get many things done in this half an hour that you and I are together, while at the same time present a little bit of a vision to the gentleman sitting here who's looking at Zija for the first time, so that he can see what's going on within the company also, but have a picture in his mind of people all over the world. Hang on for just a moment. And so he can have a bit of a vision of what's going on. I just gave him a call count, all right, by pressing a certain button so he can hear what's going on. I say, well, here, I'm talking to roughly probably 50% of the people on this call are guests, and 50% of the people on this call are distributors, and the 50% that are guests I've never met, and may have an opportunity to meet live one day when I show up at an event in a particular state, or maybe at the corporate convention. Yet I'm building a business and providing a residual income by helping other people that are part of my team in other areas of the world, working from home at my kitchen table with 2 people sitting across from me. Now, when you close your eyes and actually picture the power of that, I mean really capture the amount of leverage that we have with that concept. And when we do a big event and there's 3,000 people on the call, on a well-promoted event, or 5,000 people, then you can really capture the essence of network marketing of Zija International. Not just that we have world-class products that change people's lives, but you can also see how it is possible to create a 5-figure monthly income, a $10,000 a month income, or beyond, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. annual income, which we have people in Fiji doing. You can see how that becomes possible. So what makes the difference? We've got 10 minutes left, and I'm going to focus on time management for just a moment. We've all got, roughly the same amount of time. We've all got 8 to 10 hours a day, which we put into work, right? Whatever it is that we do, our full-time job or anything else that we do. Some of us put in more time, some of us may put in less time. But here's what we do in terms of time management. In terms of time management, I'm going to teach you this in 10 minutes. The whole concept of time management, what separates the difference between those that earn high-level incomes and those that don't, is what we do in the time that we have. Where are we investing our efforts in the time that we have? Because the effort is the same. It's just that, do we have leverage in the time that we're investing, or do we have no leverage working for us? What do I mean by leverage? Well, when I was working at the hardware store as a locksmith glazer, I went into work at 8 o'clock and left at 5, got home at 6. And in that 8-hour, 10-hour day, I had absolutely no leverage whatsoever working for me. None at all. Why? Because I got paid for the time that I invested and the value that I brought in that time. Not really the time. I got paid for the value that I brought in that 10-hour period. And the value as a locksmith glazer is pretty limited, I can tell you. It's a trade. You don't earn much. It didn't matter whether I worked 10 hours or 12 hours. The income wasn't going to change. In our business, in network marketing, we get paid for the value that we bring in a given amount of time. So let's talk a little bit about that. How do you work with 200,000 people that are a part of your team? Where do you put your time in? There's not enough time to work with everybody, obviously. So it works like this. And I'm just going to focus on the 80-20 rule for just a moment. Some of you have heard this before. The question is, are you employing it in your day-to-day affairs? Can you teach it to another person? And do you understand how valuable your time is? Do you understand? Are you clear on how valuable your time is? And that means every single person on this line. Every one of you and I, both of us, our time is the most valuable thing that we own. It's everything, aside from our health. Because we've all got a limited amount of time. It works like this. And this is a law, it's a principle. It never changes. It is unchanging. 80% of the people that we will work with that are a part of our team, that we will be in contact with, will do 20% of the production. Will create 20% of the results. And the other 20% of the people will be the 80%ers. They will produce 80% of the production. The 80-20 rule. 80% produce 20%, and 20% produce 80%. The key is to invest all of our quality time with the 20% who produce 80% of the results. That's the key. I have a limited amount of time. I cannot give all of my quality time to the 80% that produce 20%. I've got to give all of my quality time to the 20% that produce 80% of the success of the results. And someone says, well, how do you help the person who's in the 80%? I work with the 80% in large groups, doing large meetings, large trainings, large conference calls, global conference calls, so that we can provide value for the 80% that produce 20%. The fact of the matter is, now conversely, in the 80-20 rule, the 80% actually end up being the foundation of the entire business. Isn't that something? The 80% that produce 20% of the results are actually the foundation of the entire business. They are the soldiers. They are the army. They are the people that create the volume, not the generals. Generals are nobodies. They can't fight the war if they don't have an army behind them. So although the army may not be the leadership. They are the ones that actually do all the work. And so when we talk about the 80-20 rule, the 80% is absolutely critical to our success, but you need the 20% in order to build the 80%. You need the producers, you need the builders, the recruiters, the leaders, in order to build the foundation with your 80% that produce 20%. They produce 20% of the results as it relates to business building, but they produce a whole lot more volume. Because, out of the 200,000 people that are a part of my business, 180,000 of them are doing absolutely nothing. Because they're just customers. They buy $100 a month in product. And that's where all the volume comes from. The volume comes from 80% that produce 20%. And so, when we're working in our business, learn the 80-20 rule. Understand that 80% produce 20%, 20% produce 80%. Work with those people, show those people what to do, and learn that the 80%, when it comes to time management, that produce 20%, are pulling on your time. And if you open the door and give them your time, the 80% that produce 20% will use up 80% of your quality time. How will they use it up? They'll call you up and ask you for the phone number of the conference call. Where is the location of the company? What's the phone number of the company? Questions that they could get answered by going to the website. If they phone your house to ask you questions like that and you give them your time, and all of your quality time is going into mundane activities that could never advance the growth of your business. So as a leader, speaking to you from my home office here in Toronto, Canada, I too have to learn how to manage my time, where to put my focus, where to put my energy in order to advance business in Teach International. In the last 5 minutes of this call, I'll tell you, I put 100% of my time, 100% of my effort, every waking moment that I'm in this business is focused on one thing and one thing only and only one thing, period. Recruiting and teaching others how to recruit. That's it. I'm always training people how to expose another person, how to get another customer, how to get another distributor, how to build more leaders. And all of that is in the context of doing what? Getting more people. Making the army bigger. Getting more recruits. Having more divisions. Having more organizations. Having more presentations. More conference calls. More three-way calls. More PBRs. More events. More Super Saturdays. More webinars. More product samples, more people using the product, more weight loss stories, more of everything that relates to getting more people. 100% of my time is invested in doing that and only that. Doing it for myself personally, with a new distributor and a new guest, and a new person sitting directly in front of me is not someone that I brought. It's someone else that someone else brought. But I'm working with that someone else's person to help him go 3 levels deep. Right? That's what I'm doing all day long. And doing that every single day, although it doesn't look like anything's happening, there's a compounding effect that starts taking place. And 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, you find yourself with 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and in some cases, 100,000 people in your business. And so for those of you that are new on the line tonight, if you've ever wondered, how do these people earn this kind of money? They don't do it by selling product retail. Nobody wants to sell product to their friends and family. I certainly don't. I'm sure you don't either. They do it by leveraging their time and their efforts and their production by following some simple, basic principles in network marketing that give us leverage through duplication of efforts, marketing world-class products that everybody wants and needs. So if on the line tonight, I invite you to get back to the person who invited you to this call, get your questions answered. Certainly join us for the product call this Wednesday. Dr. Fisher, who wrote the book, Moringa, Magic, Myth, or Miracle, which you can see at themoringabook.com. And all your questions answered about the product. I promise you this. Our goal is to assist you in reaching your goal, whatever that might be, for part-time, full-time, or financial independence type income. We will show you the path on how to do it. Zija right now is amongst the fastest growing companies in the entire industry of network distribution. And there's a lot of people that have created extraordinary success in the last couple of years. We're now expanding into a number of countries. I'll be making a European trip in the month of March to 4 or 5 countries throughout Scandinavia and Europe. And we'd love to have you a part of that. We will help you build your business not only locally but nationally and yes, internationally. So get back with the person who invited you to this call, get your questions answered, and we'll show you how to become part of the team here with Zija International. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Millionaires in Training. The lines are open. Thank you.
Thank you. California. Thanks, David.